reason I signed up is to make sure that we had enough storytellers to tell a story. So I'm not really sure what to say, except that I was thinking about courage. I was thinking about this theme. And of course, my mind went to Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, so that was where my mind went, which sent me drifting back to growing up. And I was raised by my grandparents because my mom was 15 when I was born. And so I lived separate from my mom, and I went and I would go and visit her. And she had cable, we did not, and so that was the only place I was able to see Courage the Cowardly Dog. But that also got me thinking about my dad, and I did not know who my dad was until I was like 12 or 13. I don't remember at the time. But basically I don't really talk about him a lot, So yeah, I did not know who my dad was. It was this big mystery. My grandma used to talk about each of my body parts and talk about which of my family members on her side that it belonged to.
What it looked like, you mean?
Yeah, who it came from, essentially. So my toes came from my great grandma. I have my mom's eyes. I have this from my aunt. But one day, out of the blue, I'm over at my mom's house, and she goes, "You want to see a picture of your dad?" I was like, "Yeah, and how come you've had this picture and have not ever showed it to me?" And she put out so she goes into her memory box and pulls out this picture of my dad and her at a Valentine's dance back when they were first getting together. And for a while, that was the only picture that I had of my father. And then finally my mom comes and says, I think we found your dad, and do you want to go get some blood work done to make sure that this is your father? And I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do that. And so there were blood work, we went and got the cotton swab, we got blood, and while I'm away at Camp Manitowoc for Boy Scouts, I get a phone call from my grandparents that, in fact, whoever this guy was, I was more related to him than I was anyone on her side of the family somehow. I don't know how that all works out. And I was asked, well, is it okay if we have him over? And so while I was away, they had him over. They went through baby pictures with him, showed baby videos, and it was great. So when I came back, they were like, do you want to set something up? Or before I came back, they were like, do you want to set something up where you get to meet your father? And I said, sure, that would be great. So on the day that I came back from Boy Scout camp was the day that we were supposed to meet. And I just remember hiding on the porch because he was coming over and he was there, and I decided at that exact moment that I did not, in fact, ever want to meet my father. And so I went out and I hid on the porch so no one could find me for a very long time. It was kind of like a weird game of hide and go seek. And so finally they found me, they pulled me out, and I met my dad. And it was sort of in a way like looking in the mirror, I look almost exactly like my father. And we went out to a Chinese buffet and had Chinese and crab legs. And he gave me his business card. And it was the 4th of July. And I went out and watched the fireworks with my aunt and held this guy's business card until it disintegrated in my hand. And that's where I'm gonna end there.